Open up order the Town of Chincoteague regular meeting for November. If we can all in for the occasion. Taylor?
Have the occasion and thank you for anything. It's a wonderful place to live, Lord. Lord, you've given us employees hard for us, Lord. And Lord, we know they do such a good job because people want to come here, Lord. And they want to come here because our police department keeps it as safe as they possibly can, Lord. Our EMS, emergency services, Lord, they're there for when emergencies come, Lord. All of our employees, Lord, keep it clean. They just do all they can do, Lord, and we praise you and thank you for them, Lord. Be with our military. Lord, give them strength, Lord. And tomorrow as people go to vote, Lord, pray that they will be kind to each other and be courteous to each other and respectful of each other, Lord. And Lord, that's what you tell us to do, Lord. Love one another and be kind. And Lord, we thank you and praise you for all you do. Lord, just be with each one of us, Lord, and may we do things the way you'd have us to do it. And Lord, just go with us and guide us and direct us. For we ask in Jesus' precious name and for his sake, amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. First thing on the agenda, comment. And first on the list is Miss Evelyn.
Thank you all, Mayor and Council. I wanted to come, Evelyn Shotwell, Director of the Chincoteague Chamber of Commerce, to thank you all for your help. The town, police department, EMS, fire company, public works, everyone that helped us with the festival. I think it was a great success and the first big event that we've had since COVID, and everything seemed to go very well. So I just want to thank all and the village of volunteers that we had help us that day, so, and before and the week after. So thank you all for helping us make that possible and make a lot of people happy. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Miss Julie.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and Council. I am providing an update on the ICC's TNR Weekend Clinic. I'm Julie Brommer, President of Chincoteague Island Community Cat. On October 14th, we had over 35 volunteers coming out, 65 cats, 10 patients. Volunteers came from New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and some first-time visitors even from Northern Virginia. At that afternoon, the vet contacted me and canceled the TNR clinic because of COVID. So Thursday night, we reached out to clinics in the area, and vets from Richmond and Northern Virginia volunteered to come out and do surgeries for us, but by Friday morning, we didn't have a clinic to perform those spay-neuter surgeries in, and we had trapped 6 cats at that point. So Friday, we switched to Plan B, and Wakefield Humane Society helped us with 6 cats. We were able to take them to Wakefield Friday and 3 spayed and 3 neutered and get them returned to us. And with the volunteers on site and over 100 borrowed traps, we decided to reach out to the colony caregivers where we knew the cats had already been spayed and neutered, and asked if we could trap their cats and provide fresh rabies vaccines. So on Saturday, we trapped cats, and Saturday afternoon, 64 cats received rabies vaccines. 63 of them were fresh rabies vaccines, and 1 cat was a first-time rabies vaccine. He wasn't ear-tipped. And so we held on to him, and again, Wakefield Humane Society really came through for us on Tuesday to get him neutered and returned outside. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on our weekend. Thank you very much for the use of the Firehouse Bay. It worked really well for the event, and without a clinic, we were able to revaccinate 63 cats and get 7 spayed and neutered. So I'm pretty happy with the success that came out of it. Also, I'd like to update you that this weekend I brought about 400 pounds of food from the PA organization in Pennsylvania and distributed the dog and cat food to Mana Cafe, and then some dry and canned cat food to our colony caregivers who are feeding 25 to 30 outdoor cats every day. So thanks again for your support and do you have any questions or concerns?
Julie, will you be doing this anytime soon, or is this finished for this year?
So I'm trying to that right now that it's getting darker sooner and it's colder. Cats recovering from anesthesia can't regulate their body temperature, so we don't really have a place to hold them overnight for recovery. I've used volunteers' garages in the past, but that's one of the challenges we face for the winter months.
So you probably won't start back up until springtime.
We won't have a large clinic this spring, but potentially reaching out. When we had to reach out to other clinics in the area, several of them were interested in working with us. It was just very short notice, and so we'll be contacting those other vets and vet offices to see if maybe we can do a few cats a month or to make it sustainable, which is the ultimate goal.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a comment. Again, what you all are doing, I just think it's fantastic. And your dedication to it, your whole group, the dedication to it is just fantastic. And you've heard me say as an animal lover, this program not only helps people on Shanty, but of course, you know, the cats with their health and everything. And I just think it's fantastic. And I personally will continue to support this, as long as you keep on doing it. I just think it's great. And thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank all of you, all you volunteers, but all those short notice people, tell them we certainly, you know, because they probably didn't know they were getting involved in something, you know, in such a short notice, and they stepped up. And that's a true friend, you know what I'm saying? So thank them especially for us.
Yeah.
And we certainly appreciate it.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the next agenda.
So moved.
Motion and second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Next up is District 1 Supervisor, Vice Chairman of the
Yeah, Vice Chairman of the Board of Supervisors. Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council, for having me again. It seems like we're going to do it not right on the quarter month, but we'll do it quarter after. That's where his last two, that's fine. So the hot topic, all of you been reading your newspapers, and this moving off the island for the last 40 plus years has hit us. Not enough people have moved here permanently, and this last census, a couple hundred people short. So, I know it, puzzling look on your face because I thought we'd done pretty good, but
Up in 3,100 and 200 more.
with the other, we had to do some moving around. So, one supervisor now has some of the mainland. And it's very, I applaud Supervisor Donald Hart and Tom with a last name about that long together. I think it starts with a B. I ain't even going to try to pronounce it, but it takes in the Wallop Station area and the Justice Forum roads. I think that's the name of the road where David Hudson lives and all. And some of those Shanty-Tiggers that moved off, like David Burgess and all, they got me now. They them back. So the only thing I see right, and it won't happen tomorrow, is that instead of them going to Atlantic and vote, they'll come over here.
I don't see it happening tomorrow, though. I think this takes effect for February. We voted to approve it, the public hearing last Monday. So there are some things that I've got in my mind that I want to try to do that may affect us later on with something to do with school districting, but this has nothing to do with school districting zones. They do their own districting zones, and nothing's been done for 20 plus years. It's probably time to move some zone lines, and I'll deal with those maybe officially next year when I'll be the chairman, and we'll see what happens. But my compadre Ron Wolf was a little bummed that he lost NASA station, but I said, Ron, you got the island. That's where the rockets are shot off. He said, oh yeah. I said, so you can still come to meetings up here to Wallops, and so that's about all I can tell you. Some people can't figure out, but it's Mill Dam Road is actually encompasses that new area. You see that I got all the causeway and the line there by Royal Farms, and then it cuts into Mill Dam, and that's little Mosquito Creek that separates us and Trails End. Trails End is that pink section up there. So not only did Ron Wolf lose that area, he lost also Hallwood to District Zone 4. Which was Grayson's, but now is Vanessa, because she was a little short of people too. But
So is Atlantic grown that much?
yeah, it has. That's the largest district that we have, District 2.
Bigger
See,
than
what's
Shingatag?
happening is,
Bigger than Shingatag?
Huh?
Bigger than Shingatag?
Atlantic District is bigger than Chincoteague?
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. See, Captain's Cove is growing enormously.
Yeah, that's true.
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 people over there now, permanent. So he's getting it from that end, and also down to south end, little things are growing here and there. But District 2 was reduced because of course, me up here in Wallops, or us up here in Wallops, and then Hallwood of District 4. The only other redistricting that we had to do was, it doesn't really affect us, but just to let you know, the Poplar Cove area down there in Nancock, just from 7 to 6. That was between Jackie and Robert Crockett. Robert picked that up, Poplar Cove. But it had nothing to do with school zones. But we'll address that at a later time. What questions have you got on this one? Only thing you'll see different, you might see some cases, the next voting cycle. November. They have an election next November, but not tomorrow. That's all you got? Well, I thought you'd find all kinds of questions on this one. Did I want to go to the main? Not really. But I'm picking up people that I go to church with every Sunday, actually. So, I see them more than I see. So, I realized it had to happen. People can't keep selling out and moving off without it having some effect now over the years. And that are buying up the property, we all know part-time residents, and they don't do the census here. They do it in their states where they're from. Okay. Next one. More ARPA money coming. Tourism. Marketing. That's what it's coming. About $50 million to the Virginia Tourism Authority. What that means, I know. I can feel her. You can feel the smile. Let's look at her. I just found out day before yesterday that County is getting $240,000 of that to divide up between the 3D, which is Chincoteague, Anancock, and the Eastern Shore Chamber. If you do your math, it looks like $80,000, which will help big time for marketing. Now, committee, of course, and every time we get federal, it just pulls Mike Mason, it drives him because he don't have the staff now to implement spending the money that, and every time it comes in, you got all these, things that come with it. So he's got to get it together. Now, the county will get the how to implement this, but they can't do a thing with it until the DMO's approved. So it's going to be one big committee. Yeah. So it's going to it's good. There's no requirement for it, and only takes online submissions will be accepted. 50% of the allocated funds will be available upon approval of the county plan. So that's, I think, next week? 15th. So in a couple of weeks, maybe you can have something going on.
I have a question.
All right.
The 240,000, that's for Accomack or the whole shore?
Well, is there any DMOs?
That's just Accomack.
That's just Accomack.
We'll get a portion, I don't know what Northampton.
I think Northampton has a DMO.
The Northampton Chamber.
The chamber does.
The Eastern Shore Chamber, does that encompass Northampton?
No, that's
Accomack, okay.
that's in our zone.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
Is the Eastern Shore Chamber or Virginia Tourism Corporation?
The Eastern Shore Chamber is in our zone. It's an Accomack zone. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are on this shore that are mistitled. Accomack's paying for a lot of it, all of it, without any help. But it's called Shore this and all that. Another topic. Let's move on to the county legislative priorities. All right? Teachers are number one. Keep the teachers here. That's going to be our efforts again. Because that one-time raise last year, you get used to it. You got to have more money. So we're going to try to get. It looks like another $6 million to help support these teachers, keep them here, recruit them here, so that our kids can be educated properly. The second thing is to amend the section to enable the county to pursue changes to the Accomack County Code about removal of grass, weeds, and other foreign growth from. How about that? I didn't know why they wanted to get into that, but I went a majority on it. So unless this zone other than agriculture, you better keep the grass mowed, keep things looking good. Our continued improve Route 175. My feeling is Route 175 is the line to the Golden Egg. And you better keep the line to the Golden Egg open. I don't care if it's eroding away ever so often, but if it goes away, this whole Eastern Shore is going to suffer. The whole Eastern Shore. So now that it's mine, and I'll have the gavel, and Isdale likes to please the guy with the gavel. Go look at Mr. Wolf's Road. You'll see he likes to please the guy with the gavel. So we'll see what happens. There's been some them treadles and things they've done, but we really need some turnoff. We need some pull-offs. It's just not whatsoever. All right. Support effort Hampton Road Sanitation District to provide services at the northern end of the county. The county and town staff continue to meet with HRSD on that one. Don't miss any meetings. If you go to one of those meetings, go to them, because sometimes they get their wires crossed. They all up a wrong road to get to an Ancock. So we had to get them straight. you don't change the plan unless it's approved through the Board of Supervisors. Oh, we didn't mean to do that. We are going to go up to only now and make that left. They were going to go a little shortcut there by Walmart. So, all done, but make sure you go to the meetings and make sure that if you got some plan, some agreement with them where things are supposed to go, make sure it goes. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the VATI grant. It's Virginia Telecommunications Initiative. It's a 1 year, excuse me, 1 year program. I'm sorry for the microphone. What it does, it is allow public broadband authority, such as Eastern Shore Broadband Authority, to apply directly for VATI grant funds with investment from the private sector. Number one priority for this money we got was to get broadband county. I know they're over here all the time, and I sit and listen at them. Places in Accomack County doesn't have anything. So this VATI is going to take up a big portion of what it's going to cost to get broadband to these outlying areas. But just a couple days ago, I read an email where we're running into I say we got some challenges from, I believe it's Eastern Shore, I think it's Charter, and maybe one area, saying that we're overlapping service. But these situations happen all the time with these kind of programs, so it's no big deal. Just maybe something or whatever. But all of our paperwork, all of our approval board has been done to seek the VAT. So that's what we're waiting for. Any questions on that?
What was that amount again? You say you were looking for under that grant, that VATI grant?
What we're looking for to get, it was, I can't remember what they pick up a big portion. It was going to somewhere up $1 million maybe to hit some of those areas, but they'd pick up a big portion of that, and we wouldn't have to spend as much of our ARPA money to we were figuring we were going to have to spend somewhere around $1.5 million to do it, but we're looking like maybe about $600,000-700,000 now. So we'll have some pennies left over for who knows.
You use a slew of school buses to do broadband during last.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean,
and like I say, we set up things, all over the
that's a
place.
bus. It wasn't just 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
that's in the works, and like I say, we've run into a little snag here and there, but that can't be handled. One of our other priorities was to support the volunteer fire and rescue companies, and we approved at our last meeting to help the companies that were impacted by the pandemic with loss. And we were initially talking about giving up to $50,000 in lost revenue. And after looking over the 15 companies that we have, it might be 14, only a couple of them lost money. So we decided to give all the companies $50,000. Just to give you an idea, and this is something that probably Denise doesn't even know yet, but I ran a report sitting there because I got one over here across the street. 1.1 million we lost in 2020 in revenue. So we would have certainly qualified for the 50,000. And I guess you all saw where the governor, the deputies, sworn deputies, 3,000 bonus. We matched it and gave all of our EMS people 3,000. And I'm very surprised if the rest of the county employees. We already got the appointees of the sheriff who are farmers, them something, so that, you know, the court people's not sitting there with a road deputy who got 3,000, they got nothing, and they worked all during the pandemic too. So we're going to probably up that with the landfill people, and other jobs that worked all through the pandemic. It's going to be a ticket item of probably around 300,000, but due to all this Arca money coming back and all, we feel we had the revenue to help every family. And I think that's about what I have to say for tonight. I'm a little bit longer than I usually am. I thought you'd have more questions about the zoning. I think I hit it on the board. It doesn't affect school districts. Yet. But we'll see what happens. Nothing else? Thank you for having me. I won't see you anymore until probably February. So have a nice Christmas if I don't.
We'll have you back whenever you'd like to come.
If things are important, you know, maybe I will give you a call. But right now things are running pretty smooth. Things seem to be getting done, you know. But you never know what'll happen. But call on me anytime. And I got to be very careful. Like I said, it's the only impact is probably next voting cycle. Some different faces up here. But I got to be very careful when the county starts talking about raising personal property tax, put EMTs here and there, because it's going to affect some of my people now. It didn't affect none of you, but now it is. It's going to affect some of them. So I got to be. So hit me a text once in a while. Remember, if you read something in the newspaper that's going to affect. I'm very forgetful these days. All right.
Thank you. All righty, next up, the proclamation for cleanup week. Whereas throughout our community there are many cemeteries and family burial grounds, and whereas over the years many of the loved ones of those buried in those cemeteries have moved away or are no longer able to tend to these cemeteries. And whereas many organizations and individuals throughout our community have volunteered to assist in the cleanup of those sites and within these cemeteries. And whereas these organizations and individuals need assistance from all citizens to accomplish their cleanup goals to beautify and preserve our family burial grounds. Now, therefore, I, Mayor John A. Leonard, do hereby proclaim the week of November 8th through November 13th, 2021, Cemetery Cleanup Week within the town of Chincoteague, and call upon our citizens to volunteer to organize and assist in the cleanup of our island cemeteries. Dated this the first day of November 2021. Miss Ellen, I'm sure you're the cemetery cleanup. You're very aware of all what goes on.
Right.
If you got, and they're so scattered out, there's how many? I mean, just plots like are up on North Main Street. Just one at Captain Chandler's. Back on the ridges, and there's little plots that get forgotten.
There's some that's not been touched, but only maybe one or two graves on it.
Did you want to tell them about the November 13th party?
Well, that's in the minutes. That's coming up on committee meetings.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you then.
Not that any of our business, but does anybody go over to Assateague and do that?
We have done it, yes.
Because the other day it appeared to me that there was either a tree down or something. It used to be a clear, you could see it clearly, but for some reason it's been obscured.
Maybe we could go over and see,
Yeah.
talk to the Fish and Wildlife, because they had been keeping it up.
Right. I know some people have been putting
After we
flags up and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
Right. I don't know if this year they'll be able to put flags on with the American Legion, because last year they didn't have money to buy the flags. So I don't know what they'll do this year. Huh? Yeah, I don't know. I can't talk to anybody because nobody has any answers.
All right. Moving on, staff reports. General government.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To the right place here. Leading off, the old firehouse. We have a lot of interest in renting spaces at the old firehouse. We have at least 4 other individuals right now who are interested in different areas of that building, as the old town garage building. So over the next few weeks, we'll probably sign a lease for at least 1, maybe 2 more spaces there. In VDOT, everyone knows here that back in July, VDOT changed the programming for the lights on Maddox Boulevard to progress traffic in an east-west direction. We requested on October 18th for them to revert the programming back to the winter mode, so to speak, and they accomplished it the same day. So now it allows all locals to move south across Maddox Boulevard again, and I'm sure everybody is pleased with that. The harbor, on October 16th, the third annual kids fishing tournament was held at the harbor. We had 28 kids participating from age 3 through age 16. Everything was provided: fishing poles, bait, lures, everything you needed. Even the charter boat captains showed up to assist with different methods on how to fish and how to catch fish. We had 4 keepers caught. The ladies outdid the little boys. Alice and Baden caught 2 keeper flounders within themselves, by the way. And 2 of the little boys caught a flounder each, 4 keepers all together. It was a very good day. They had lunch. They all got a t-shirt, and everybody had a real good time. This continues to be, for the 3rd year now, a well-attended event, and hats off to Vernon Merritt, who thought it up and keeps it going. This year, Chief Fisher brought down a police car and let little boys and girls blow the siren and turn the lights on, and VMRC brought their patrol boat down and let the kids get on that, and they had a big time. Staying at the harbor, we've seen a significant increase in fuel sales for the last 2 years now. Looking at the chart, the FY 19 and 20, our fuel sales, for gross sales for both years were about $285,000. In FY 21, gross sales of all fuel products increased to $401,000, and that I would say was attributed to increase in gas prices. But if you look at the gallons sold were up 57%. So it's not just an increase in fuel prices; it's actually an increase in quantity sold. And as of October 26, which are the numbers to date you see at the bottom line for FY 22, we're up to $206,000 there for a number, which is about half, just about half of all last year's sales. So they continue to be strong. Again, I'll credit Harbor Master Vernon Merritt. He stays on it. He stays attentive to sales. As you know, we've recently ordered some new fuel management equipment, which will make sales even better and more efficient, so we're looking forward to that. And Harvey, in his report, will give you a little idea on how that project stands. Looking at the financial report, again, not a lot here that's an anomaly. Most of the things are where they should be, or perfectly explainable of why they were slightly last year. Just one point I'll mention, as mosquito control expenditures are a little bit higher this year, which you might not expect, but we did pay some overtime to run the trucks a little longer this year, trying to keep everything in the neighborhoods down to something that's tolerable. Other than that, our expenditures and revenue for our budget seem to be in line with this time of year. Taxes, everybody get ready. Taxes are coming out this week. The ladies have been working for several weeks now to get taxes out. We finally got the conversion just today, if I'm not mistaken, from Southern Software, and over there across the hall is well-sorted piles of tax bills that are getting ready to go out. I've been told just to stay out of the way, which I'm doing my best to do. And by the end of the week, everybody will have a tax in the mail. They're, of course, due December 5th. Meals and transient, those tax collections are still strong. If you look after correcting for the 1% increase, which went into effect in January of 2021, transient occupancy taxes are still up 7% over last October. As of this October, our collections have exceeded, and transient occupancy have exceeded 100% of our budget for that line item, which is outstanding. Meals taxes are up 7%, which is a nice, healthy gain over last year. And while they have flattened out just slightly, they continue to be strong. We also are, you'll notice our budget, our percentage of meals taxes is significantly higher than last year, but part of that's attributable to the fact that we had a more modest projection of revenue for meals this year than we had last year. Continue to be strong, and we'll be addressing that in a future Budget and Personnel Committee meeting, I'm sure. Building and zoning, Mark continues to be, and I thought I would point out that our building and zoning administrator is not just in charge of building and zoning, he also has some thankless jobs like making sure people cut their grass, making sure there's no junkyards popping up around the island, and if pictures, he recently had a derelict structure removed from Ocean Breeze that had been was deemed unsafe. The owner, after he was given notice, decided to tear that building down rather than repair it. And there's a few more on our radar that will be coming up in the next few months, structures that either have to be repaired or taken down because they've been deemed unsafe. So building and zoning administrator still doing a lot of things here and still staying busy. And with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Robbie?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As you can see, a couple of corrections, not corrections, but additions. Instead of 8 arrests, we wind up this month with 10, and instead of 12 charges, it was 16 charges. On October 1st, our department and the Accomack County Sheriff's Department assisted CHS with their homecoming parade for the homecoming game that really wasn't a game. Referees didn't show up that night, and they decided to scrimmage. We were still able to sacrifice homecoming out of it, and they did have a homecoming thing for the kids, so that was great. On October 4th through the 8th, PFC Jeff Stevens attended the General Instructor School. I think I told you last time he had been to school for the standardized field sobriety test and for DUIs, and that he had to go to the General Instructor School also in order to be able to teach that class. October 8th and 9th, we assisted the Chamber of Commerce with their Oyster Festival, and it was a great crowd. Everybody behaved themselves very well, and it looked like everybody had a great time out there. I think everybody was just glad to be back. October 13th through the 15th, we had FC Doug Barnes attended breath alcohol tech training. That is to run the breath alcohol equipment on DUIs. We're trying to get each one of our officers certified. I think we only have one more officer, I believe, that has to take that training, and then all of them will be certified in that. October 20th, I trained all of our officers on the operation of the decibel meter that we use for any noise violations, particularly with bands or music, types like that. I didn't know myself. I guess after I left, I was the only one that could train people. You know, a lot of the officers here, except for the ones that's been here quite a while, they didn't have any training on it. So we corrected that. We got them all trained, and they're all, you know, qualified to operate it now. October 23rd, myself and Corporal Gladding assisted the Shintig Volunteer Fire Company with traffic control for their Oyster Fritter fundraiser, which was a a very good success, I believe also. I believe they said they sold over 600 oyster fritters that day. So that was a good day. October 25th through the 29th, myself, Corporal Adams, Corporal Butler, and PSC Luke Arnold attended biannual in-service training at the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. All officers had that week of in-service training every other year. So this year, the bridge tunnel, thankfully, the last few years they have kind of split it up so that they have a spring and also one in the fall. Because a lot of departments here, like us, we try to keep everybody on a year-to-year basis, half of the department one year, half the department the next. But a lot of times it's hard to do that, depending on when we have to hire people and so forth. So that was really good training. The 26th and the 20th, Captain Greenlee received training in access to criminal and other law enforcement records pursuant to FOIA. Right now I'm looking at making him our FOIA officer once we get everything all straightened out in the department with that. And then on October 30th, Saturday night, we assisted with the closing the downtown area from Church and Main to Cropper and Main, and also in Sunnywood Manor for trick-or-treating. I was out at Church myself with Corporal Cody Butler. He was at Cropper and Main, and it looked to me this year like it was a lot busier with the trick-or-treaters out there. One of the business owners I talked to also said the same thing. A lot busier down there. On the other hand, I had Corporal Adams, PFC Carmody, and Captain Greenlee were all in Sunnywood. And they said it actually looked like it was less this year in Sunnywood. Didn't look like it may have been in as many houses as normal, and the crowd looked, less. Tyler was telling me today, he said on the main drag there through Sunnywood was pretty busy, but on the backside, I think it just didn't seem like as many kids went around there. So I guess maybe they're coming
transitioning into
more.
Main Street.
Yeah, transitioning. So that's basically about it. Maybe you could see a busy month. And we were going over some things today for November and December because we have everything coming up with our. I think we're going to try to have a toy run again this year, the same day of the Christmas parade, and basically our barrels out, for to collect toys and so forth. Try to help the families out here at Christmas. So it's going to be a busy 2 months coming up also. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say that downtown, that they have a lot of grown-ups that were dressed up in the Halloween costume, and they were surprised. They thought it was for kids. I said, but they weren't trick-or-treating. They were with their kids.
Yes.
But they said it was a lot of people, some really costumes.
I would dare say it was more people, more grown-ups dressed up
With their kids.
this year with kids than I've ever seen.
Well, really, that's what you
Yes.
should do. You're going with your kid, you should dress up.
Oh, yes, yes.
I don't mean
Everybody had a good time.
with a false face on and all that. Dress up.
Anybody else? I've just got one thing. We had a birthday at the new park, at Brianna's Park this weekend. That thing is getting a lot of use, so it might behoove us to have an officer go down and just survey it and walk around the park every now and again.
Sure.
I was informed we had some vandalization go on down there. Maybe if the kids saw a cop coming by every now and again, they wouldn't want to tear it up. But
Right. That's what we can take.
yeah. All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, one other thing too.
Go ahead, Rob.
As you see, we
It's
started
No
our
Shave.
No Shave November.
Yeah.
Started a little bit early. I did one day.
Oh, come on.
No Shave November again, for to donate, to one of our local charities here on the island. So you'll see the officers up until February. We do it. We extend it out so we can collect more money. So from November to February. So thank you all.
I have a question.
Sure. Denise.
Since you mentioned that, I mean, we've got cameras in Memorial Park. Would it be in our interest to put some at Brianna Park?
I don't think the ones in Memorial Park, correct me if I'm wrong, are working right now.
We do not have anywhere other than the harbor.
So let's do it.
Cameras in Memorial Park, but we don't.
Then we need to.
Yes.
We need to put them back.
At basically all of our parks, I believe. I mean, you know, the general.
It's too cheap nowadays not to.
Uh-huh.
It's just too cheap not to.
If I may, we did, the last time that we signed a contract with Newbeam for the current iteration, we did change the terms so that they now provide us high-speed internet service, Memorial Park and Robert B. Park, as part of the agreement, in preparation for putting cameras there. So we have the internet service there now available, we can put cameras.
I think that's on the Arpa project list too.
It is, yeah.
UVM system.
We definitely have them at the Brianna
I
Park.
agree.
Yeah. We got
Yeah,
kids,
our
kids
schools.
there.
Kids, yep.
And it was a mixture of kids. It was little teeny tiny kids, going on up to, preteens. They're using the park. Like every piece of equipment had somebody else.
All right, moving on, Harvey.
Speaking of Brianna's kind of, it continues our primary, in addition to our routine water, grass cutting, road maintenance, all those other little things we do. But the big change you'll see down there is we're well in the way of construction of the restroom facility. Mike, if you'll scroll down just a little bit there, you'll see some of the block walls going up. In this corner here, we're probably 4 times that much block up now. So all goes according to plan, weather permitting. The block walls, the brick walls, the structure should be done right around the 1st of December. Of course, that's weather dependent. The other big development in Brianna is Connors Park, and Mr. Taylor, I don't want to steal your thunder from the Parks and Rec Committee. We worked with the committee. We've actually made some changes to the layout down there, which I think are very positive changes. We had the pavilion down Smith Street kind of by itself. We've repositioned it now so that when you walk through that sidewalk, and it's not in one of these pictures, that off the parking lot there's a little spur of a sidewalk. You'll take a right, go to the restrooms, take a left, go in the pavilion. So it's right off the parking lot. It's a lot more accessible. We'll have a sidewalk tied into everything together, which brings the pavilion closer. The other thing it does, we actually turned the soccer field 90 degrees. So now it runs perpendicular to Smith Street. We've worked with the YMCA, and the size of the field is 25 by 35 yards. If you get a chance, we've actually just kind of set soccer goals over there. They're not anchored, they're not permanent, we can move them. And also you'll see 4 corner stakes. Those would be the 4 corners of the soccer field. So significant change in the layout. Again, I think it makes a lot more sense than what we had originally lined up. The other thing Mr. Talbot mentioned, fuel system at the harbor. All the hardware has been received. The company installing is Delmarva Petroleum Services. And I must say they've been an excellent company to work with. They have all the hardware. We're having some issues getting a credit card company to process it. We thought we had one lined up, and per Delmarva's recommendations, and found out today that they were changing software, changing banks, changing, and they basically didn't have time to fool with us. So,
Good night.
So we've gone back to Delmarva, and hopefully we'll identify another company here within the immediate future. Get the new hardware installed. I will tell you, we'll continue to use the internet until the chip reader is installed. once the chip reader's installed and all the hardware's in place, which we have been told would be the first quarter, early January, it'll transition over to a cell tower. No longer use the internet, my name comes off the pedestal. So I see this as a major enhancement. Other thing I wanted to mention, and I apologize, it's not in your report, we just finalized this information today. We do lead and copper testing of our water system triannually. We just finalized the results, and without getting into a lot of statistics and details, what the health department, hence EPA, does, we do 20 samples. They look at the results of what they call the 90th percentile, which out of 20 samples, so they're looking at the 18th highest reading. They don't consider the lowest when they look at the one that's 2 from the top. Our 2 from the top for lead was 0.004 milligrams per liter. The action level, which is just where you start to look at things, is 0.015 milligrams per liter. So we're at about 27% of the action level. And for copper, similar scenario, the 90th percentile is 0.440 milligrams per liter. Action level is 1.3. So we're again 34% of even the action level. So great news for the water system. We'll continue to put in phosphate, do some to keep the corrosivity down. So happy to report we have some very quality drinking water. Other than that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
We are meeting tomorrow night.
We are. Public Works Committee meeting tomorrow night at 5, right here.
Thank you, Arvin.
Mr. Rush, last but not least.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, Vice Chairman of the Board, Todd. Trust me, when it comes to EMS, I won't let you forget anything. Let me just make sure this is working real quick. Yep, very good. All right, so in your report that was issued last week, we were showing 67 total responses. We actually ended the month with 91, which is 22 more than we ended the month with last year. So in that time period this year, we were at 67 and 54 last year during the time period. But for the whole month, we ended up with 22 more than last year at 91. So it has been a very busy October. And again, I think some of our meals and occupancy taxes show that, you know, that we have that wave of people coming to town. Staff did some training down at the Iron Pony ropes course to make sure that we understand their system, and should there be a medical emergency or a problem somewhere up on the course, how to access them and how to release their safety systems to get them down, which most of the actual extrication will be done by staff members there. So we just, again, had to learn how to assist them. Staff, at the urging of the new EMS supervisor, did a community outreach downtown the other night, and they said it was an overwhelming hit. The kids love emergency vehicles. Most young children just love the flashing lights and so forth. So they were handing out candy. They had a little setup there I think that kids love, but again, the big thing is getting in the ambulance and seeing it. Reserve ambulance, you see that in your packet. The fire department is actually meeting on that tonight. This ambulance is from Parsonsburg. It will not be a third ambulance. I've heard some rumors going around, people kind of, a third ambulance, you know, we're going to have, we don't have the staffing for a third ambulance. We don't need the staffing for a third ambulance. We need a reserve ambulance so that when one of the two that we have do go out of service, that we can maintain the service that we have promised the community. We've got the staffing, so we need to make sure we have the vehicle. Greenbackville has lent us an ambulance quite a few times over the last few months, as well as Oak Hall. So this will be a really good addition. We'll be able to stock it with just some of the basic supplies, and then when it's needed, we can move the high dollar tickets over. So it's as far as equipping it, it's a really cheap way to get away with it. It will have to be licensed by the state. We did meet with the folks at the Office of EMS last week when they did our inspection to kind of go over, what would be needed and how to do it. And again, this is hopefully going to go through tonight, and the fire company will make this purchase. And again, lettering will have to be changed, but the overall color, stuff like that, it's going to stay the same. And again, it'll be a reserve piece. It will only see service when one of the primary units does go out of service. So from a storm situational awareness, we do have Wanda out there now, way out there. Believe it or not, here it is November 1st. But Wanda's forecast to go up and then to the right. And then you see that little 10% blip down there in the corner. Even looking at some of the longer range models, there may be a few low pressures. We can see what happened to us over the last 4 or 5 days with the tides. That's usually our biggest problem here on Chincoteague is a nor'easter type situation. So again, hurricane season goes until the 30th, so we definitely want to make sure that we are prepared. But I think we all saw what could happen. That was at a low tide cycle of the month. If that had been at a high tide cycle of the month, we would have been way worse than what we saw during Sandy. So people need to pay attention to that. And again, with that, prepare. This was a good learning experience. You see what's going to happen. The causeway, it was close in some areas, but it was still passable if you had to in an emergency. There's no need to just go out and drive just to see what's going on, but unfortunately people do. But again, there could be that day where that causeway is completely closed, so we need to be prepared. And again, there's plenty of preparedness ideas out there, or by all means, reach out to my office. So the other thing I wanted to say real quick before we go into COVID is with Wanda being the last storm on the list this year, should it continue on, we will no longer use the Greek alphabet like we have in years past. The next storm will actually be named Adria, followed by Braylon, and then Caridad. So they've actually made a list up now that continues on out. So hopefully we don't see any of that for the rest of the year. And also for those of you that use radar when we have storms and stuff coming, the Wakefield Radar will be down until the end of the week. So you'll have to use the Dover site. I know some people use Wakefield. Depending on which way the storms are coming, one gives you a better one. But Wakefield will be out of service until the end of the week. So with COVID, we certainly over the month of October had a spike in cases. There was a wave that came across the island, came across Accomack County, and fortunately that wave is really beginning to settle now. The 7-day positivity rate today for the entire Commonwealth was 5.5%, which again is going down. If you look there at the bottom of the chart today, 5.5. A year ago today, 5.8. So we're actually lower than where we were a year ago today, or comparable at that point. So that's a really good positivity there. However, the eastern region has been over 8%. So the entire eastern region of the state has seen this last wave. And again, here in Chincoteague, you may know somebody or have heard of somebody that had COVID in the last month. We actually have had 32 cases over the course of October, which is fairly significant for Chincoteague. Just in the last week, since I sent you an update last week on Monday when we were talking about weather and stuff, we are only up 5 cases in the last week. So again, we're starting to see it decline again. But like I've said before, it's going to continue. This is nothing that should surprise us. It's going to do this throughout the winter. So what now? You've probably heard on the news, of course, all 12-year-olds and older have been approved. Now 5 to 11-year-olds have been approved for the Pfizer vaccine. Moderna's probably going to follow very closely behind. Our local PPE supplies, again, are still stable, but as I stated in your briefing last week, the state is now beginning to ramp up some of those supplies in the warehouse. So any chance we get a few more just in case. Face coverings are still recommended when you're tight indoors and can't do social distancing. And then again, there's going to continue to be increase in cases, basically due to the variant, which is the new norm now. So again, expect it, don't get surprised by it. It's still out there, you can still get sick. And again, we're in flu season, so every time somebody gets the sniffles, I think we all start to think, oh my goodness, what's going on? So for those that are eligible for a booster now, which is almost everybody 18 and older, you got to really read through the quagmire if you want to get down to it. But 6 months post your second shot for your Pfizer and your Moderna. So anybody that's been 6 months or longer, you're eligible for the booster now. If you're 65 and older, you're 18 and older, and your long-term care, underlying conditions, you're working in an area with high risk, you're living in a high-risk environment, things like that. Healthcare, long-term, and then first responders. So again, a majority of folks 18 and older can get a booster now. Now, what they're recommending, if you got the Johnson & Johnson, which was the one shot, that anybody that had that should be, and there's an H missing up there, but that should be post 2 months. So if you're 2 months or greater with the J&J, you should go back and repeat. And you can mix and match these. You do not have to get the same one. If you got Pfizer the first time, you can get Moderna. If you got J&J, you can get Pfizer. There's no reason not to mix and match according to the guidance. So in summary, EMS remains extremely busy for this time of year. Hurricane season will continue through the 30th, but again, we've had some of our more damaging events throughout the winter and early spring from nor'easter, so folks need to pay attention. There's that continued potential for 19 infection waves. It's out there, and again, it's kind of the new norm. And then check with your local healthcare provider or whoever you go to concerning your booster. Ask. You don't know until you ask. And again, wash your hands. Wear a mask when you can't distance yourself. And again, try to watch that distance. Any questions?
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have the committee. First up is public safety. Denise?
Yes, we met on October the 5th. Members present was Jay and myself.
I was missing.
Arthur was missing.
I believe I was on a boat.
I think you were, yeah. We had a town manager here, Chief of Police Robbie Fisher, Emergency Management Coordinator Brian Rush, and Captain Tyler Greenley. We discussed the staffing levels for Chief Fisher's department, and he explained that he is looking to fill a couple of positions. One was our SRO officer, so we're going to need to backfill that position where he's took that job. And one of my concerns, and it's listed in here, was that we make sure we have 2 officers on every shift, and that is exactly what Chief Fisher is trying to get to. We also talked about salaries for officers, and Captain Greenley is also looking into the review of comparing officer salaries throughout the county and then other agencies up and down the Eastern Shore. We also talked about the 1% TOT tax that is coming into for public safety. One thing that we had discussed about is that if the EMS, the police, public works, or the fire company would need anything, they can come before the committee, can contact Mike, and he'll set us up a meeting. I'd asked about if the money has already been put in a line item, and it has, and it's been retroactive put in there. So I'm hoping that this will get these agencies over some minor hurdles that we may have. That's pretty much about it.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, we'll move on to the Arpa Committee. And this was our initial meeting for ARPA. We reviewed what the town manager had list of things. And it was just discussion of that list and what we could and couldn't do with the ARPA money. And it was, once looking at that list, you know, we resolved that the top of the list was, we had heard from the public, they wanted septic to be the top issue, so we're continuing on with that. We have another meeting of ARPA to be determined soon. But it's just another one of those things, it's a work in progress. Anybody has any questions about it, we'll continue that on, but we're working on it. It's a lot of money to be juggling. Alrighty, moving on to the cemetery committee.
Yes, we met on the 7th of October, and mostly what we discussed was about our proclamation that the mayor had read for the cleanup, for the cemetery cleanup, which will be the 8th, next Monday through next Saturday. And we're going to be meeting at the Thornton Cemetery on Ridge Road on Saturday morning the 13th from 9 to 12. There's some, it's pretty well kept. I'd say 2/3, maybe 3/4 of it's kept well, but there's some that's not getting anything done to it, and it doesn't look nice. It makes the other not look so good. So we're going to go down there and spruce that up. If anybody wants to come out and help, they can. And if we find someone, an organization is supposed to be helping us, but that could change, who knows?
And the Navy,
Uh-huh.
they're actually supposed to be here Thursday.
They will? Okay, so if they show up on Thursday, then we'll find something to do. So we got plenty we can do, Mr. Taylor. And, but the hard thing about it, he had someone contact him. The Navy needs a project for,
Yeah, the Navy has a chief select for their community service project, Peter Graves, so she volunteered.
and you know, normally we don't have that many show up for our cleanup, so if we can get extra help in there, that would be good.
What time is the Brianna Park dedication that day?
10:30 a.m.
10:30?
Yes, ma'am.
It's on the same day?
Yes.
I was gonna ask.
That's all I have.
And that's what time?
10:30.
10:30.
Is the
November 13th, 10:30? That's the dedication.
All right, Gene, next up is the recreation community handbook.
Yeah, we met on October 26th, and like Harvey was saying, the update, like I said, the playground, as Mayor said too, is up and going. Kids are enjoying it. I want to thank the whole community. I want to thank the council for going to bat to get the money this time. We talked about it and beat it to death, but I know Vice Mayor Bott went to the budget personnel, got money. The so many fundraisers, people that really put their hearts and soul into it. A special person that donated land and monies. It was a dream, but it was everybody coming together. Even people from away from here donated serious money to it. And it's nice to see people come together, things get done. And I just want to thank the Public Works, want to thank the people that done fundraisers above and beyond, all the people that donated, all the businesses that contribute to this, and it's just so good to see it. It just really is. Like you say, you work a lot, get a lot more done working together than you can beating each other to death. And it's come out so good. And there is, like I said, there is going to be a dedication November 13th. I believe the mayor's going to be speaking at that at 10:30. And if you can come, it'd be great. And I think the mayor's speaking and several others. And there's people I know I forgot to thank, but it's just so good, and the young lady, it's got its right name. Take my word for it. Beyond a Connis Park, because you heard me say 1,000 times, but they had a fundraiser over here, and they had a remote thing, and she goes, "Is all this for me?" She goes, "Well, what about everybody else?" She wouldn't think about herself. She said, "What about everybody else?" So this is some of the everybody else situation. The other kids get to enjoy the kindness that the community's put together. And like I said, the budget, and like I said, because of people's kindness and because of people's donations and everything, we are in budget, and like you say, we're under no stress there either. So I just want to thank everybody, and that's just about it. Thank you.
Any questions for Gene? I'd just like to carry on conversation that we had prior to this. With Breeze Park nearing completion, I think we need to move on and focus maybe on Memorial Park.
Absolutely.
You know, that park is in dire need of some updates and revamping. So now that the park is done.
I promise you, I would love to, anything that I could say. And another project, my heart is we have to get something together for teenagers. Everybody wants to complain about this, that, the other teenager, but what have they got to do? And we, as churches, as committee members, we have to have stuff for teenagers to let them know that we care. And like I said, not only just putting stuff there for them to do, and spend some time with them ourselves and come out. And I could say even get the police department involved, and I know they love to. And they're willing to. So I'm not saying they're willing to. They would love to. We need activities, positive activities for teenagers on this island. Think about it, pray about it, and like Mayor's saying, let's do something positive and good. All we can do. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. All righty, moving on. I'll entertain a motion to adopt our minutes from the council meetings that we've had. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion or corrections or anything like that? All those in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Council comments, Ms. Richardson? Wait a minute.
I meant to say that earlier, but the town hired a young man to do grass cutting, and he's doing a good job. So I think Harvey's going to send him Thursday with people from the Navy, so to make sure that he knows what to do. But, you know, and the town does have some equipment, so it needs whackers, and I know the committee doesn't have any. So, but all the cemeteries that the five that the town has graciously said that they would maintain look very well. They look very well. He's doing a good job.
I know I've not been getting as many complaints as I have, so he
Right.
must be doing something.
Right, and I mean, he's keeping up on it, because I had mentioned something to Harvey about one of the cemeteries, I think it was Oddfellows, that looked like TLC, and he mentioned it, and it was done. So that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Sure. Denise?
I am actually good.
Good.
Imagine that. Get that in the minutes, Kelly. I had nothing to say.
Vice Mayor Bott?
I don't know, after Denise passed. I would encourage everyone to, the community, and Brian mentioned it in his report on the boosters. There was a great push, I think, when the vaccinations came out to get them, and there was mass vaccination events and so forth. I don't know that you will see that as much with the boosters, so I am encouraging of everyone to, look into getting the booster. So that's all.
Thank you. Brother Bill?
Just want to say congratulations to Brian on his appointment,
Thank you.
and also congratulations to the team tonight. They won their first regional game, play again Thursday, and hopefully from there onward to states. Congratulations to them.
G?
Along, we're talking about at our committee meeting, we're also looking for public participation in helping to keep our parks clean. And I take my word for it, I'm not saying that the guys are there, but it gets you, when you're talking about getting you, so if we could find volunteers in our town, they can go there and get a grabber, a trash bag, and go around and help keep, because like you say, when you have young people there, you want it to look clean for them and sanitary. So if we could get some participation on our island people that would be willing to volunteer, I say Harvey and myself, and like I said, we for them to come and help keep our parks clean. I know that Dave, somebody was complaining about the thing, and like I said, it just came there. I said, yeah, well, I said, we're going to try to look at people on this island that love to help, and that really would be greatly appreciated to help keep all of our parks clean, and especially Memorial Park and Brianna Connors Park. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Brother Jay?
I'd like to congratulate Brian again on that. Well deserving of it. And I was looking down that list. You look like the only individual on the shore there that received kind of accolades. So that means a lot. And I appreciate his work. And I just appreciate the work of all the town employees. Just like clockwork, it seems like. You go out, I'm riding out all the time. And they're busy and they're productive and well lit. And I just appreciate that. That's all.
All righty, thank you.
My only comment is we lost a citizen that, I don't know, he's been here so long, he's part of the island. Every time I saw him, he said, "Welcome to Chincoteague."
No, yeah.
And so much is come out about him that nobody else knew. Kids would come in for a drink or something, and he wouldn't charge them. He'd say he'd put it on their parents' tab, and their parents didn't have a tab. But down the road, I think the town should probably look for something, whether it's a soccer field because he likes soccer or something, for Mr. Steve. He was quite an individual. I mean, he wasn't always friendly to the town. He would let us know when something was not right. But he was working for the town. He was always looking out for us. So that's just it for tonight. Besides that, we're in football season, so I got to say it, roll tide. So I will entertain a motion to go into close to pursuant of section 2-3-1A5 continue for discussion of potential business opportunities.
Motion.
I have a motion. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.